If you hold altcoins, I'm sorry, but it's been rough. Look, you need to see this chart, okay? Now, what chart am I talking about here? I'm talking about the others versus Bitcoin chart. This is bullish propaganda in this video, so if you're not up for bullish propaganda, go somewhere else. If you want to hear some bullish propaganda, listen up. This was shared by Alex Wassi the other day on X. Now, this post caught my attention for a few important reasons. So in today's video, I want to do a deep dive on this others versus Bitcoin chart, see what it has to tell us, and discover why this one chart might just be the most bullish signal for altcoins that we have right now. Now, I've recreated the chart here, so have a look. What exactly are we looking at? Well, this is the total market cap of all of our altcoins, excluding the top 10, the others chart. We've talked about this many times before, divided by Bitcoin's total market cap. So to reiterate, we're talking about combined market caps of all of our medium to low cap altcoins, everything outside of the top 10. So no XRP, no ETH, no Solana, right? Then we look at that versus the total market cap of Bitcoin here. Therefore, in essence, the others to Bitcoin chart compares the value of our medium to low cap coins against Bitcoin's value. So let's start with the big picture observation. And that was that the idea that altcoins have somehow topped out when the ratio of altcoins to Bitcoin is close to a multi-year low support level at just 0.13. At this point in the calendar year, really, it doesn't make any logical sense. However, what does make logical sense is that the potential upside for altcoins right now at this juncture in time is massive. And the upside reward is much greater than the downside risk. If you're in the right altcoins, of course, not any random dog shit, okay? This was the main point here, and pretty clear just from looking at the chart here. Now, the next question is, if now is a great time to get exposure to altcoins, which I know we've been feeling that for a while, right? We keep getting our asses kicked. But given that we're basically buying the bottom here, then how high can we expect the others to go compared to Bitcoin, and within what time frame? Well, before we tackle those questions, guys, if you're trading the cryptocurrency markets, you got to get yourselves an account over on BitUnix. The question is, will you start taking yourself seriously and your exchange seriously and going to an exchange that is going to value your privacy and give you some insane bonuses? Okay, here's the deal. Available anywhere. That's you, okay? No KYC, no VPN, no BS. When you use the link down below, you'll get 30% off your trading fees, $400 deposit bonus when you deposit $2,000 or more. Crazy, right? Insane trading bonuses, and we're giving away $1,000 every live stream to new signups. So if you want to be in the lottery to win that, you got to get signed up. So is today the day? Will you make the leap over to BitUnix? Link down below. Go check it out. Okay, so the first big question here. So besides this resistance line, the Fibonacci extension tool is what we want to look at here. Now, measuring the others against the Bitcoin from the 2018 cycle top to the 2019 cycle bottom, you can see that the 1.618 Fibonacci line was projected at 0.47, and indeed, during the 2021 cycle top, the others broke just above this 1.618 Fibonacci line, hitting 0.49. This means that at the others 2021 peak, the market cap of all coins outside the top 10 was roughly half the market cap of Bitcoin, right? Now, we've got the 2017 to 2021 cycle as a reference here too, so let's project the Fib extension again from the 2021 into our current cycle. So starting from the 2021 top to this cycle's bottom, our 1.618 line is coming in just under 0.75. And notice that the multi-year ascending resistance line is coming in just under that as well at 0.67. So we'll cut to the chase here. I think the others probably tops out against Bitcoin this cycle somewhere within the range between maybe 0.5, which would basically be a double top scenario with last cycle, all the way up to the 1.618 line, which again is just under 0.75, which would be pretty extreme altcoin mania, to be fair. It has not happened, and there's no retail here to push it like that yet, but when the conditions line up, they will. Now, why am I settling within this range? Well, with regards to the bottom, the 0.5, I think that's the reasonable. That's where the others should probably be at a minimum. Managed to get back to its prior high from last cycle. It's pretty good. I really don't think that's too much to ask for this cycle. And with regards to the top of the range, since the others made it to the 1.618 Fibonacci line last year, then I can see them hitting that line again this time around, especially since this ascending resistance line is so close to this Fib line as well. So that's how I'm getting my target range here. Now, I want to ask you a question, and it goes back to the video's main point. If you think this is reasonable, which is greater, the potential upside reward here or the downside risk? Clearly, it's the upside, and that's even if only the bottom of this range at 0.5 gets tagged. So just don't lose sight of the main point here. This is a reward to risk analysis. Note about timing, because the only thing more important than potential price targets is the clock, okay? Here's where things get particularly interesting. Here's the others, the Bitcoin chart overlaid with Bitcoin's last 3 halvings. You can see that in the 2017 cycle, it took the others 567 days to top out against Bitcoin after the 2016 halving. In the last cycle, it took the others 616 days. Now, the average between these two numbers is 591. So if we project 591 days from the 2024 halving, that gives us a potential others to Bitcoin topping out moment for early December. Now, if we get an extended cycle, that's, by the way, early December is like a little over 60 or so days away. It's not that far. If we get an extended cycle, and that brings us into early Q1 of 2026. So in terms of the 4-year cycle theory, I guess that would kind of hold up, which I think the 4-year cycle theory is broken. I think we go much higher for much longer, and not until like late 2026, potentially even we see a final top for the market, because the business cycle doesn't line up with a 4-year cycle top in the next 60 days. But okay. So next question might be, but wait, are you saying the others will make a move like this against Bitcoin within the next 2 months? Well, again, not exactly. What I'm saying is that we shouldn't discount how hard the others can move against Bitcoin. That's the key thing. Timing, who the hell knows? It's past performance does not indicate future performance, right? And past timings do not indicate future timings. So here's what I mean. Check out the timing in the 2017 cycle. On the weeks of December 11, 2017, the others' market cap was just 1/10 the size of Bitcoin's. But within only 4 weeks, the others went from 1/10 of Bitcoin's market cap to 1/3 in just 4 weeks. Okay, that's crazy. Now look at 2021 cycle. The biggest move against the others was made against Bitcoin over a 5-month period, where the others went from 0.08 to 0.44. Did it in 5 months, but took longer. And I think it takes even longer this time. Now back to the current cycle, the others is at 0.13 currently, approximately the same place that it was in the previous 2 cycles before it went absolutely mega crazy parabolic. And as I've just shown you, when these coins start to move against Bitcoin, they move hard and fast. But this cycle's been weird, okay? And we have the digital asset treasury companies, we have the ETFs coming, all that stuff that'll move a lot of money into the altcoin space particularly, but it might take longer than people think. We might have longer periods of time compared to the last 2 cycles. And from cycle 1 to cycle 2, it took longer. Maybe this takes much longer yet again. Still though, for those of you who may not have been around or have just forgotten what actually happens, don't discount how fast altcoins can move in a very short period of time. Finally, just to add one more layer here, all of this assumes that we're still, again, in a 4-year cycle. A lot of the comments that we've made so far in this video, and I really don't think that we are. I mean, remains to be proven, right? I think we get a nice local top by the end of Q4. Top that's big enough to convince everybody it's fucking over before we rage higher in 2026, because the business cycle isn't even close to being topped, guys. And risk assets tend not to top until the business cycle does. And the business cycle's probably got at least a year left. The global liquidity, probably at least another 9 months or so left of upside. Okay, so those things tend to coincide with galactic market tops. So either crypto completely disconnects in Q4 and just goes into its own bear market while everything else continues raging higher, which is unlikely, or this cycle lasts longer than people think, because we've always really been following the credit cycles, the business cycles, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, we're going to find out with Bitcoin 4-year cycle soon, because now we're stepping into Q4. This is the make or break moment for the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, okay? And it's really not abnormal for the others to be at this valuation that it is currently compared to Bitcoin, judging from previous cycles, okay? Again, it tends to move quite hard and fast, nor is it abnormal within this part of the calendar year, judging from the 2017 cycle, for example. When these coins finally do decide to move against Bitcoin, they tend not to waste their time, and they tend to move really hard and really fast. So given everything that I've just shown you and where we are within the calendar, I like the upside reward potential here for certain altcoins, not any random shit, but certain altcoins, right? Ones that are already getting mind share and attention and have good token models and all that kind of stuff. And despite this really rough price action over the last week, there's no way I'm bailing on all my alts. Now, I might consolidate some bags, don't get me wrong, okay? But as we head into October and really Q4 more broadly, it's likely a very good time for taking risks. Famous last words, ... No, I think it's a good time for taking risks. All the macros seem to be lining up on our side, and as long as some crazy shit doesn't happen, then likely within the next 3 months, we'll see some pretty big price action on altcoins. Thanks for watching.